Hi, I'm Erica with Goat Tutors, and today we're going to learn about the distributive property. So let's get started. So distributive property is just a rule that we use in math to help us multiply a monomial times a binomial. So a monomial is just a single term, and a binomial has two terms. Okay? So let's take a look at what it looks like. So we typically have A, in this case, is going to be our monomial. And then we have our binomial here that is B plus C. So with the distributive property, think about it just like if someone were to distribute papers to you. Every person would get one of those papers. So in this case, we have our little arrows here to mean that I am going to multiply, because remember the set of parentheses here mean multiply. I'm going to multiply that term outside to everything inside, to the first term and the second term. If there were 3 or 4 terms, that A would get distributed to every term that is inside of that set of parentheses. So when we do that, we get a result of A times B plus A times C. The same thing can be said if we have subtraction. Okay, the only difference is that we are going to get A plus B times A times B minus A times C. Okay, so we're going to get a subtraction there instead of an addition sign. Before we start to do some numerical examples, we need to refresh our memory on what like terms and coefficients are. So like terms are just terms that contain the same variables with the same exponent. So x and x are the same. Y squared is the same as y squared. Y squared is not the same as y. Okay, so keep that in mind. They have to have the same variable and the same exponent. And then a coefficient is simply the number that is in front of our variable. So all of the coefficients that I wrote for my x's and y's above all have a coefficient of 1 because we don't necessarily have to write the coefficient of 1. It is understood that there is a 1 there if I have that variable. So for the first example we're going to look at, we have -2 times the quantity x plus 7. So what we're going to do is distribute that -2 to each term. So I will write out every step here. So we're going to take -2 times x, drop down your addition sign, and then we're going to take -2 times 7. And now we're going to multiply each of these terms. So -2 times x is -2x, plus -2 times 7 is -14. We don't really like to write plus addition, so we are just going to write -2x minus 14. For another one, this one we're going to up the ante a little bit each time. So for this one, we are going to take 3 times a minus 3 times our 2b plus 3 times our 7c. And now we need to decide, hey, should I multiply the 3 by the 9? And the answer is no, because we stop distributing or multiplying that 3 when we see our end parenthesis. So then we just can't forget to put our plus 9 constant term at the end. So let's go through and multiply. So 3 times a is 3a, minus 3 times 2b is 6b, plus 3 times 7c is 21c, and then we have our constant term of plus 9. Now we need to look at all of our terms to see if we're able to simplify. I have an a, I have a b, a c, and then just a number. I have no like terms, so that must mean that we are finished with our answer. With that being said, it does not matter if the number that we are multiplying by, that constant term, is on the left side or the right side, because remember, multiplication is commutative. So if we have the value on the right-hand side, the problem is no different. I still have to take that value times each term inside the parentheses. So I have 4 times x minus 4 times 6y. 4 times x is 4x minus 4 times 6y is 24y. Double check. Maybe I boxed too early. My first term has an x. My second term has a y. They are two different terms, so we're done with that problem. All right, I saved the most difficult for last. It is asking us to rewrite this expression using the distributive property and then simplify. So I have 3 terms inside of my parentheses, so I'm going to multiply each one. So 3 times 2x minus 3 times 4y plus 3 times 8z, and then do not forget about that plus 7x at the end. So now simplify 6x minus 12y plus 24z plus 7x. And now let's double check. Can I combine any terms together? And if I look here, I have a 6y and a 6x and a plus 7x. So that is going to give us a 13x minus 12y plus 24z. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you learned a little bit about the distributive property.